Namaste. So I welcome you all to this live session, and as I had already mentioned that you have been following things about creative problem solving and the videos that I have been sharing, and you would like to know more about it. And what's a better way than learning from each other's experiences? So that's why I came up with this idea that let's invite people who are already using creative problem solving in whatever things that they are doing. So mostly design course students and design professionals, because whilst they're executing their design projects, they get opportunity to use these principles, or the creative problem solving process or design thinking process as we call it. So they get an opportunity to use it in their projects. So let us find out from them that how they find it and what are their experiences of using it. I'm sure you will also certainly like to hear from them. And yes, I have one of my student today. Introduce her.
Yes, here she is. Hi, Paulomi. How are you?
Hi, ma'am. How are you? I'm great. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you so much for joining Paulomi here. And,
So,
I'm like sure that many of us and many of our viewers, they are very curious to know about that what this process is and how it helps people in their lives. So why don't you introduce yourself and just let us know about like what is it that you do, and apart from your design school, what are your other interests?
so, I am a product design student, second year at Raffles, which is in Andheri. And I have been doing this online. Like, I haven't had a chance to go.
I know, I know. Yours is the batch who started it with post-pandemic, immediately after pandemic.
Batch that began began with online sessions, and oh, well, you of course were one of my first teachers, and you have actually seen how I was back then, how I am right now in terms of
True.
basically a lot of things have changed since last year. And in terms of interests, I have like hobbies for painting and everything,
Great,
painting,
great.
drawing, and of course I was like, before my design college I was a content creator on Instagram. And then of course, like, since college started, you don't really get
You don't
time.
get time.
Never get
Right,
time.
right,
So
right,
last
right.
year my world has been, revolving around design. There's nothing
Great.
else.
Great, great, great. So there are very few, like there are many of them, Paulomi, I must say that they join design course, but very few are totally involved in it. They get involved as they go on doing it, but not all. And I see the passion in you and the way you want to grow yourself and learn more about it. I really appreciate that. Okay, so let's start. And here's the first question that I have for you, Paulomi, that I would just like to know that how was your experience of using design process for the very first time in the first project that you did?
So my first time that I used a design process was actually with you, in the
Okay,
first
great.
time with you. And at first it was all like, to be honest, very scary. Like, there's so many steps. How do you do this? And
Yes,
having uh, no one to like ask, because you're not on campus, you're home, and to get
right.
like 4 hours of class, and then the rest of the day, the rest of the week, you have to
True,
figure things out by yourself. So
true,
like that,
true.
the first assignment I would say was like very confusing for me, in terms
Hmm,
of
hmm.
if I'm doing this design process right, if I'm doing justice to the entire process, am I leaving anything out? And I remember
Okay.
my first product was a incense burner, and my entire the entire story. of building it, sketching it. And I remember I had like a lot of rejections with the sketches, and I had to sketch a lot to get, the perfect form that I wanted. So, there are a lot of things, and it's not just textbook, it's not just the steps that you see. There's a lot of
Right.
like subtopics to the steps as well
Right.
that really mentions, but you just find out on your way. So
Right. Right.
like that first time I used the design process, it was hard, it was confusing,
Hmm.
and like ever since that, when I actually had the product made, I made it, and it
Hmm.
was like a successful product. That feeling is totally unmatched. Like the design process for the first time ever in your life, and being able to design something that is not out there, that you made yourself. I would
Right.
for
Right.
that feeling, and I've been doing that ever since, using
Great.
processes all the time.
Great to know that. So as you mentioned that it was little mighty to start with, to know that, and maybe at the initial stage you are not even aware about that. What is it that next we have to do? Because you just unfold it, especially for the first time, right? As you go on doing it, then you unfold it. But as you rightly said, that in the end, you just feel that, all that mess that was there is all worth it
But
to, to, to get to that final solution that you come up with, right? Right?
yeah,
And there's no other feeling that can match that sense of accomplishment that you get after coming up with that final solution. Great. So, Paulomi, I would like to know that what are your other skills that you think that got honed because you followed the design process?
so first, with like following the design process, I would overall say that uh, using it a lot of times, for over like 50 times now, I
Hmm.
have specific flow that is like
Hmm.
customized for me by myself, that I
Right.
follow, and it's not textbook anymore. It's
Right.
mostly instinct, and it's mostly like what I feel is necessary, and what I feel can be overshadowed, and what needs to be highlighted. So that
Hmm.
is a
Hmm.
lot of the process part for me. And then in terms of what I have learned, well, each and every part of the design process was new to me, and I think my like something that I've grown in a lot
Hmm. Hmm.
is
Hmm.
research, and
Okay.
I will do sketch and analysis, and
Hmm.
all.
Hmm.
Not being a designer, you wouldn't know come into the process that you
Right.
think through to make a product. Although
Right.
I have like, after doing that for a long time, you get a hang of it, and then you like somebody tells you that make a product. This is the first few things that you go to. Like there's research, you immediately look for something. Like you have an idea, the first thing that I is look if the idea has that idea too. So
Great. Great.
for and then there's analysis, and then just like you once you start with the design process, just all falls into place, it flows, and then
Right.
the thing you're prototyping something, and then you're like you have your product ready. So it's like a
Ready.
very big process, and
Yes. Yes.
after a while it like you don't feel like this could have been done any other way. There's a lot of
Right.
iterations
Right.
that I've
Right.
good with
So
iterations also. Yeah.
many a times it happens, Paulomi, that you feel that, oh my God, this is something that I had never imagined that it will come out of the process. Does that happen to you?
Yes, that
Yes.
happens
Yes.
a lot of time.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
I have been very stubborn with some of my ideas, like from the initial days. I have
Hmm. Hmm.
been like, I want to do this another way. But then when I
Hmm.
go out of my way, try to do it another way,
Exactly.
it actually turns
Right.
out to be a better than what I was expecting. So
Yes.
sometimes I do surprise myself.
Yes, yes. In fact, I wanted to ask you this question about exploring many options because I remember that, I had been giving this particular feedback to you initially that, you have come up with a lot of ideas, but somehow they are still in the similar bucket. They are all similar. And I know that you can definitely come up with very different kind of approaches to the same thing. And I remember how positively you took that feedback. So I just wanted your views on how was it really difficult for you at that initial stage to think about so many different ways of looking at one particular problem?
I think you can definitely like witness that I have changed a lot, and I
Definitely,
would
yes.
definitely
Yeah.
give the credit for pushing me through it to like make different forms and different explorations. At first, it was like very like I was getting mad that there's nothing new that's coming to my mind, and now like after I've been doing that for some time, now I'm like I can't repeat a form. Like my form doesn't get repeated anymore. It's always a different
Right,
form. And I
right,
think
right,
process where you like learn and grow. Like it's always hard at
right,
this. Like it's
right.
always you don't know. There's nothing coming to your mind. I've had so many creative blocks, and I personally
Mm-hmm.
find that I work better at night. So
Okay.
I I usually like just sat around all day and then had myself like up and geared and ready to sketch at night. And then so many things would come out of it, so many ideas. And I'm sure that's
Great.
done me good.
Great, 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 great to know that. Okay, Paulomi. So next thing that I would like to know from you is actually it was that how comfortable now you feel now that you've been using that process so many times in many of your projects. So has it become a natural way to think? You already actually pointed it out, but still, if you want to share something.
Become natural. It has definitely become natural because I don't have to force it in any way. It's
Right.
already there in my subconscious. I barely even have to think about it. I'm on my paper and I've done one, and the second one that I do, it's never the same. It's always like it's subconsciously my sketching, my mind is just doing something different because I've been taught to make different and I've been learning from it, and it has
Hmm.
done good. So why not? So I always
Okay.
go
Okay.
back to the same form, and I've like
Great.
barely chosen something that was my initial idea because my explorations are always like the better forms.
Great, 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 great. Also, one more thing I would like to know regarding the process itself, Paulomi, is that, many times it happens that you make the three options and you make those study models and then you realize, oh, this is not working. And somehow you have to redo that thing. So these kind of iterations are part of design process, right?
Yeah.
Initially, it looks very frustrating. So I would like to know from you that how was it for you that making and redoing that whole thing again after a point, like almost when you are at a point where you think that, oh, okay, I've got it, but then it's not that you have to again come
Again.
back to, yes, and again do it. So I would like to learn some of your experiences on how did you tackle that and how was it?
So as a very like early beginner designer, I used to make I used to like cringe on making mock-ups because you have that perception that you're making a model, it has to be perfect. It has to be to scale, it has to be perfect. And
Right.
then you like spend 3 hours on making one, then you have to make like three to
Correct.
five different.
Correct.
And when
Too
one
much
of
effort.
like those ideas like don't come out, like don't pay off, then you're like, then I don't want to do this anymore because I've already done so much. Something has to work out. And then sometimes in frustration, you end up selecting something that is like, then okay, I'm just like tired of this right now. But then, like, what growing was for me was that I started paying more attention to the form instead of the
Hmm.
little minute details. So at
Hmm.
least I know how my product is working out. And
Hmm.
now I
Hmm.
guess I can even make like 7, 8 mock-ups of the same thing just to get surety. Like even if I'm a little skeptical about it, that
Hmm.
this may or may not work out, then
Hmm.
I would make more. And now I won't spend like 3 hours on the same model that is like this big. I would instead make like 7 in those 3 hours, but
Good.
I would like definitely get a surety and I'm like, perfect answer out of it.
Great, 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 great. So, like, as I can summarize what you said is that initially you just, when you start with it, you think that, why make this, like, why waste so much of time on trying and testing? But then you yourself tend to realize the benefits of that process, and somehow you know that how quickly it could be done and why it is important to check that and how it contributes to the final solution and to make it more effective. And that's how you realize its importance, and then you start willingly exploring it, not just for the sake of doing it for having it in a assignment, right?
Yes, totally.
Yes.
Like even when I did, and some of my products have not worked out because I haven't spent enough time on
Right.
mock-ups.
Okay.
Sometimes
Okay. That's a
get
great.
on mock-ups, and then you like in the end, something goes wrong, and then
Hmm.
you have to cancel that product because you didn't
Right.
pay enough attention to the details. So that has
Right.
happened to me a lot in my initial days, that
Mm-hmm.
didn't work out at the end of the project. But
Mm-hmm.
because of that, those mistakes, because I learned from it,
Right.
now I'm
Great.
always sure
Now.
till the up stage, always sure. And then I go ahead with my prototype. And if I'm not sure, I would take like weeks to get sure. Like I would
Oh.
turn up to class a lot of times and like I'm still not sure. So
Right. Right.
that helped a lot. That being sure
Yes.
about the product, being like having made iterations and
Right.
having sketches and mock-ups, that even if you've done it like two, 3 times, even if you do it till like 5, 6 times, just to get the
Hmm.
quality, it definitely has a benefit in your end product. Like
Yes.
something definitely change, and it will change for the betterment.
Right.
So
Right.
that way it has always paid off.
Right.
To
Yes, one question that was there that comes to my mind, like, I see a lot of students and they work. Each one of them have their own style. So some of them, they realize that, the process that you're using for all the projects, it's more about the process than only the end result. But that realization of this particular thing comes early for some students. Some of them take a little while to understand this. So how was it for you? Like, when did you discover that, it's the common thing that in all the projects that we do, is this design process, which is very common. And if we pay attention to the process, then the outcome that we get is bound to be the most effective one.
Yeah, like I mean, sketching is the most important part, and even if you have sketched a lot,
Hmm. Hmm.
somewhere, at least I know somewhere, that even if I have sketched a lot, there's always space for better
Oh,
and
right.
better sketches or better ideas. Now,
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
at the end of the product, like at the end of the project, I've done
Hmm.
my research, I've done my mock-ups, everything is done. But
Hmm.
if I'm still feeling like something could be changed, I would still sketch again, and I would add those sketches as iteration sketches, and I would
Hmm.
read
Hmm.
mock-ups, and then I would
Hmm.
move
Hmm.
to prototype. So I think like
Right.
back also isn't a bad thing. It's
Hmm.
always
Hmm.
helping you in some way, so you don't have
Right.
to like, I've passed that stage, I've
Okay.
done mock-ups, what is
Hmm.
done is
Hmm.
not done, I can't go back. That is
Hmm.
something that I
No.
wouldn't do. Like I would go
Okay.
back to the first step also.
Okay.
Like
Okay. Okay. Great, great. But what I would again like to know from you is, when is that, when did that happen? That you realized that maybe on your fourth project or on your fifth assignment, that, all these projects, even though sometimes it is, something related to electrical product or something related to modular design. So whatever assignment that we are doing is with a different name, but then the process that we follow to come up to the final solution is just the same that we follow in each of them, maybe with different changes, few changes here and there. So when was that realization, that like you had that realization that, oh, it is actually the same process that we are using, even though it's not only about that final thing that you should be concerned, but same process that you're using, and because of this process is what that final outcome that we are getting.
I think it took me a lot of time to realize that everything is the same.
Okay.
There are different
Okay.
for it,
Okay.
but I would
Mm-hmm.
say that by my second sem, towards the end
Hmm.
of my sem, when I had done like
Okay.
already like 6 to 7 projects in hand, ready
Mm-hmm.
projects, I think by the time
Okay. Okay.
they,
Okay.
I understood at that time, like
Okay.
it's almost the same. I don't have to like hustle a lot for it or be
Right.
different for
Right.
every. It's
Right.
not.
Right.
Not different. It's the
Yeah.
same.
Why? Right. Correct. Why I am asking this question is, because that realization is very important. I feel once you get hang of it, that it's the process that you need to follow, and then everything will start falling in place. Is an achievement for any creative thinker. I feel. So,
Yeah,
and as you rightly said, that it comes with doing. The more you do, the more you get involved in it, it starts coming to you. It will never happen that, initially you start with it with that realization. It's only by practicing it comes to you.
yeah, I mean, like, there's like a misconception that, creative thinkers, artists just sit at one place, stare outside the window, and then ideas pop in. That rarely happens.
Yeah,
Like,
true,
personally,
true.
I've been always looking around,
Hmm,
and even if I'm having a creative block, I would like
hmm,
take a, or I would like listen to music just to find inspiration, and it has never been like that hasn't helped me. It always has. And
hmm,
then
hmm,
have an idea of what you want to do. The design
hmm.
process is in front of you, and now that
Correct.
you're so used to it, you don't even have to like look at the steps like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do next. It just falls into place together, and
Very,
the next
very
thing
good point.
you have a product. So it's
Yes,
become
yes,
easier. The more
yes,
you do it, it's become easier, and
yes.
it's become like a part of me. Like everything I look at, I immediately think of the design process that it must have gone through.
Wow, wow. And you know what, Paulomi, that gets reflected in the way, like in your assignments, in the projects that you are doing. The thought process, it just gets reflected. We get to know that from your work. So great, great. So, Paulomi, now you see that it has become very comfortable for you to apply that process, creative problem solving process, as we call it, or a design process, design thinking process, different names for the same process. How do you think that it has impacted your life, not only academics, not only your assignments, your design projects, but have you been applying any few principles of what you've learned here in other parts of your life? If you have any experiences, we would like to hear it from you.
Definitely. Like everywhere I go, and I'm mostly
Hmm.
home the pandemic, but
Hmm.
always some things, even if like at your place, there are always
Hmm.
some things that you might have not noticed, but you would
Right.
now that you're a designer. And
Right.
my first instinct when I look at things is looking at the flaws of it and how,
Okay.
if it were me, how I
Hmm.
can do better. And then
Redesign it.
subconsciously I have this key, this could have been better that way. Maybe that has missed a step. I've seen the same two things at different places. Then the thing like maybe this guy didn't do enough research pops into my head, or
Hmm.
maybe the guy was like not that concerned about what he's making. I mean, of course,
Hmm.
that is never it, but that kind of thoughts come
Right.
into
You,
and
great.
always whenever whatever I'm looking at, like be it even like normal kitchenware, I still
Hmm.
feel like this is just being used for one thing. It can be used for more. I mean,
Hmm.
why is this
Hmm.
only being used for one thing? It could have multiple uses. It is
Uses.
very
Great.
easy.
Great.
And
Great.
even like even when I'm shopping now, like even if I'm like shopping for certain things, I always
Hmm.
have like a pros and cons list going in my head. Like
Hmm.
this, there is a design flaw. This could like irritate me later. Then
Hmm.
is it
Hmm.
worth it?
Hmm. Hmm.
And all of that is that implements your life as a designer. Your
Okay.
perception
Yes.
changes a lot, and I've
Right.
noticed that.
Great, great, great. So what I can summarize from whatever you are saying is that the way you are observing things has now changed. Also, you now look at the same thing from different perspectives. So whatever you see can be viewed by you from your own perspective, from any other person's perspective, like how they must be feeling towards the same product, or looking at the same thing from various point of views. And I feel that is something which helps you to come up with a lot more ideas. When you start sketching your own things, you never know that what gets connected with what idea. And this is what the more observation, becoming more curious about things, as you mentioned, that why this has only this particular use, it can also be used in so many different ways. So these kind of connections starts building the more you become curious and observant, and having that openness of mind while observing the things.
Yes.
And it definitely, as you said, that it helps you in better, it makes you a better decision maker. What do you think about that? How has it impacted you in your ability to make decisions?
It has definitely impacted me. Like I even said, like in normal things like shopping, I have
Hmm.
things going.
Hmm.
And even if I am like redesigning something, redesigning a product, I don't
Hmm.
have to
Hmm.
sit and look at that product for 3 hours thinking what is wrong with it. I can
Hmm.
just look at it for 1 minute and I would find out what is wrong with it, because that
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
that's how my mind works right now. And in
Hmm.
terms of like decisions, I'm seeing two things, and if I'm skeptical about it, like which one is better, I would immediately
Hmm.
test to see which one is better. I wouldn't like
Hmm.
spend a lot of time on it. Like I don't know
Hmm.
which best way to choose,
Hmm.
like to see which one is better with testing
Hmm.
it. So
Hmm. Hmm.
like that, I implement things quite quickly. I don't
Hmm.
wait around for a miracle to
Hmm.
happen to me that suddenly I'm going to know,
Right.
right?
Right. So probably you know the process of how to, analyze those benefits. What are the pros and cons of whatever you are looking at? And then, because that is what you've been implementing in your design process as well. So that's why the decision making thing becomes easier, because you know the methodology now, how to make that decision, right?
Yes.
And it's not like, as you mentioned, that now you don't need to spend much time. That's because you know the process and you can quickly do it, because you've been practicing doing it. It's not that you are rushing to make that decision, that this is what, and you're not thinking about different possibilities while making that. But why you are now able to do it quickly is because of the practice that you've been doing about it, right?
Yes.
Right? Yes. Great, great. So now, also, I would like to know that your learning, as you mentioned, especially of design process, has everything been online. So what were those different challenges that you faced, that you think maybe if it had been an on-campus kind of an activity, learning, it would have been probably better? Or do you think that the process has been similar, so it hardly makes any difference? So what is your view on this?
I definitely think that being on campus would have helped a
Hmm.
lot, and
Hmm.
especially
Hmm.
in terms of model making, in terms of
Hmm. Hmm.
prototyping, because we've never
Okay.
had any hands-on experiences with the
Right.
materials of like
Right.
how that. And a lot of people think like if you can do craft, you can definitely do model making, but it's
Hmm.
like there is a lot of
No.
difference between craft and
Yes.
because
Yes.
you're
Yes.
actually like making a miniature of the product that you want to make, and
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
having the knowledge to know how to work with those materials was
Right.
important. And initially there were materials that I heard for the first time, so
Correct.
having
Correct.
those sourced, even sourcing was a like difficult thing to do. And in the
Right.
pandemic, sourcing something
Yeah.
that you don't even know what it is,
Was a big
how much
challenge.
it
True.
costs and
True. True.
everything, to source that is also difficult, and then having to figure out how to work with it, and then like being being very new to materials, then finding out that it requires saws and like all those hardware tools to work with it is also a little scary. So then you have to
Yes.
teach yourself how to use
Yes.
those tools. And
True.
then
True. True.
eventually I feel like if that were done on campus, maybe I would have spent less time being scared that,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I would have been at a better level than I am right
Hmm.
now
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
learning.
Hmm.
And in terms of learning things like by theory, by the
Hmm.
design process and everything, that
Hmm.
was always
Hmm.
better, because even in class, if you have to
Hmm.
just make a quick model,
Right.
you could just do that, with the paper lying beside you, or
Right. Right.
the styrofoam in your bag, like
Hmm.
that. In on campus, you probably wouldn't have access to a lot of those things right at that
Hmm.
moment. Like,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
you're taking this lecture, but you have this idea that is iteration.
Hmm.
You have to
Hmm.
wait till the lecture is over, then go to the workshop, and then try it out. And maybe the idea doesn't stay the same.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
accessibility at
Both.
home is always
Hmm.
better. The
Right.
comfort, and the you like, at least I always sit in a room where no one is around to take classes.
Hmm.
So the
Hmm. Hmm.
communication is also better than it is on campus.
Okay. Okay. Great. Great to know that. So, as you discuss pros and cons of that activity, so see,
Yes,
it becomes so natural to you that whenever there is something that you're looking at, automatically you start looking at both positive and negative of that particular thing. Right. Right.
yes,
Also, Paulomi, you mentioned that there were so many challenges, right? But I remember that in no like there was no assignment where you said that because this was not available, I'm not able to do it. Somehow you tried to find some way out from whatever difficult situation was there, right?
yeah.
So was it there before, or like that kind of positive mindset I'm talking about it, or did the design process and see finally the design process is also about trying to find out solution that
Yes.
will work as the best solution, right? Where you follow those many processes, you try and see that what is working in it, the existing products, and so that the research, and then you try and find out your own solutions for that, various different ideas, and then you test, make those prototype tests and validate, and then come to the final solution. So in this, so which is like coming to that final solution is your goal, which keeps you always positive. It whatever challenges that comes in between, you're ready to overcome those, right?
Yes.
So I want to know from you that this particular positive mindset of Paulomi was there before joining this design course, or this particular process has helped you to become more positive and to have that kind of changes in your mindset.
It was never like that before. It was never that
Hmm.
positive. That's
Mm-hmm.
definitely developed uh, designing.
Hmm.
And well, it's also the enthusiasm,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
the
Right.
enthusiasm
Yes. Yes.
designing, and
Hmm.
enthusiasm that you have creating something that is only yours, like nobody else has created that. So that
Hmm. Hmm.
enthusiasm that like holds me, like even if something is
Okay.
not available, I wouldn't like just let it go because that thing isn't available, so my product falls apart. To that, I would
Right.
I would find a
Right.
substitute material, find a substitute tool. Even if it's taking long, I would like have a talk with you or the professors. Tell them that
Hmm.
it's late, but I would
Hmm.
for like a different approach, or like a different product itself, because that one minute thing isn't working
Hmm.
out. I would make it
Hmm.
work out. And
Right.
just,
Right.
that is something that has changed a lot in me. That the
Wow.
ability, like the enthusiasm in me, that if it's not working, then what? Like, I'm a designer, I will make it work. Like,
Great. Great.
that,
Great. Great.
that thing that has influenced a lot.
Yes, yes. So I would like to highlight here one point that you mentioned, Paulomi, is that you mentioned that, that enthusiasm that you have in you, that it is going to be my own solution to this particular problem, and that keeps you going through whatever challenges that comes in a way. Such a beautiful thought. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. Okay, so again, Paulomi before design school and Paulomi now after almost 2 years completed in design course. So what are the changes in Paulomi?
The
One,
change,
of course, we heard right now the positive mindset that you have inculcated.
and the second is that she's way too productive now. Like I was
Okay.
not productive before. Like academically, I was not that bright of a student. I was just
Hmm.
always an average one, always interested in like the artistry part of the things. And I actually like did not know like till the very end of my 12th that what do I want.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow product design like just appeared in front of me, and I was like,
Okay.
sounds like something I would definitely be able to do. And
Okay.
rest is its history. Like uh,
Mm-hmm.
I started, and then I realized that I was made for this. Like there is nothing
Great.
that I could have
Great.
ever done. I was totally
Hmm.
made, and that
Okay.
is why it made its way to me. And
Wow.
like
Wow.
I'm I'm a very different person now. Like my thought process has changed. My mindset is different. I take decisions. I did not take decisions before at all. I am a decision, and definitely in terms of skills also. Like I even like things that you wouldn't consider, like how to use a laptop. I wasn't into that a lot, and
Right. Right.
online because pandemic,
Hmm.
I learned a
Hmm.
lot about that too. So it's not
Yes.
always oriented to what you're learning in school, in college, but it's
Hmm.
also like things that college is making you learn that is apart
Hmm.
from college. Like, in terms of like my laptop thingy, that I
Hmm.
don't know how to use one,
Hmm.
like
Hmm. Hmm.
a lot at least.
Hmm.
But now I know so much about it. Like, I'm now making 3D models and everything. So I've come a long way with that.
Yes. 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 Great. Great. And what is it that you would like to, see yourself doing, Paulomi, after having finished this course?
So my plans are like next year, Singapore, of course.
Yes.
And then I want to come back. I like after the third year, I want to
Okay.
continue masters in Raffles, Mumbai.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
after that, I am willing to like work under someone. Uh,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
celebrity that I really adore as a
Okay.
actor. I really want to work under Marcel Wonders because he's
Great.
really inspired by him,
Yes.
and
So,
I'm
so
hoping
nice.
someday I get the
Hmm.
chance to. But
Yes.
apart
If
from
you
that,
start,
masters,
yes.
I am aiming for like working in firms, starting
Hmm.
small and then
Hmm.
building. I don't directly
Great.
want like go to a higher post and just like say, I've learned, so I know everything. I want to start from the basics and
Okay.
then make my way through it.
Great, 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 Paulomi. Great to know that. So, you know what? One last question now I'll ask you that I personally am a very strong believer in the process, this creative problem solving process. And I feel that if we introduce this, get introduced to this particular process at early age, young age, it is definitely something that can, contribute to the overall development of that person. So, can you just imagine if you were introduced to this kind of process to come to any kind of a solution, necessarily not for product design, but any kind of simple problems like just improving whatever your habits or any such kind of problems. So will that help? Knowing this process at young age, what is your opinion on that? you
I
I,
Yes.
Young as in, I know that you are so young, you're still finishing your graduation, but when I say young, I mean to say that early in school, maybe high school students.
Yeah. I feel like creativity is something that a lot of people like go to for therapy. You
Hmm,
know,
hmm.
Indian, a lot of people don't have access to therapy, and I
Right.
a lot of people, and even me personally, all of
Mm-hmm.
like I can speak. I think for many of the people that I know, that we turn
Mm-hmm.
creativity as a form of
Hmm,
therapy. Like
hmm,
just
hmm.
no matter what it is, it can be
Right.
sketching, drawing, painting, even like
Hmm,
sports or anything. Just that
hmm,
little comfort corner that a lot of
hmm,
people creativity, they go to that
hmm,
and it definitely has an influence on your mind, makes you
hmm, hmm,
peaceful, and
hmm,
there's a lot of like philosophy behind it that
hmm,
it really does influence you. And
hmm,
like that, I feel like high school students or students even in like school,
hmm,
they get access, and if they
hmm,
get the right support for creativity, no,
hmm, hmm,
yeah, or the world would have a lot more artists, because there are so many people who want to pursue art but they can't
hmm,
because of family pressure or their
hmm,
personal choices.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
Like that, if I feel like if you are turning to it for therapy, if you are turning to it because you're good at it,
hmm, hmm,
you
hmm,
have had the chance to look at it when you were like a little older, and maybe think that now is not the time, now I can't do it, I have other things to
hmm,
attend to. So
hmm,
maybe
hmm, hmm,
that like that spirit that some people have, that maybe I
hmm,
could have, if I had the chance, I
hmm,
could
hmm, hmm,
print today. So I
hmm,
feel like
hmm,
the young minds, the young people have
hmm,
been given the chance. I feel
hmm,
like a lot of people would do something
hmm,
that
hmm,
brought
hmm,
them peace, brought them
hmm,
happiness,
hmm.
and it
Okay,
would implement a lot on humanity itself. And
okay,
the
okay.
world have better artists.
Yes, yes. So again, a very good point that you shared here. But apart from only being artist or only being able to, express you in terms of visual art, I'm talking about this process where, to tackle any problem, where you do research first and then you define that problem, and then you start with many ideas as a solution for that, and then finally you try and test and come up with the final solution. So this particular whole process which we follow right now, because you are in product design, you are doing it for product design. Those who are in graphic design, they are following the same process to come up with their graphic solutions, whatever posters or brochures or whatever they are making, or an interface for an application. So this process, if young people, they get introduced to this process, would it, like when you were using that process in your assignments, you knew that, however difficult it may sound, but if you follow the process, you can achieve that solution, and it is going to be a very effective solution for whatever problem you are trying to solve. So like that, if they get introduced to this process through various small projects, whatever we can think for them, how will that benefit? Will they be able to learn at that young age? So if you have any thoughts on that.
I think it would it would help a lot of people, and it's not just like the design process can be used to design
Hmm.
something. It can
Right,
be used
right,
everyday things also, and to
right,
make decisions or smallly. If you use
right.
this little process, it give you
Hmm.
a lot more clarity, and specifically, you would be sure that you did it the right way, so you wouldn't have,
Hmm.
like regrets, like a lot.
Right. Perfect. Very well said. Yes, yes,
So
yes.
I feel like if people start using this process at a young
Hmm.
age,
Hmm.
then a lot of them would, be sure with what they want to do,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
wouldn't be like two minds about it, and wouldn't be
Right, right,
I have they wouldn't have any regrets later, because they know that they went about it
right,
a very good way, and
right,
they're sure of
right,
it. It would help
right, right.
a lot of.
Yes. Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Paulomi, for sharing all those views. It was wonderful that you joined and you shared so many experiences. And I am sure that viewers must have got many insights listening to whatever ideas that you shared with us today. So thank you very much for joining. And I wish you all the best. If you have any final thoughts to share, you're most welcome.
Not any final thoughts, but I do wish to see you again next sem. You're not there with us, but I
Yes,
do
this
wish to
semester.
and
Yes,
on campus and hopefully on campus. And it
yes.
was like great, like learning from you, like totally great. I think a lot of my clarity about design process comes from you,
So nice.
and
Thank you so much,
I'm
Paulomi.
for that because I think you have a lot of part in making me who I am today. Because you've seen me
Thank you
right
so much.
from the start and right to where I am. So I would
Yes,
give you a
yes.
lot of credit for it.
Thank you
And
so
like,
much. Thank you so much. And I really, as I mentioned, that you are one of those enthusiastic and passionate students who have always been wanting to learn. So whatever feedback, so I never felt like, that probably she might not take that feedback positively. So I always appreciated that whatever, and I could be honest and I could push you to explore your true potential many a times. I remember because that I giving you that this is something that Paulomi is restricting herself. She can do much better than what she is doing right now. And you took it so positively, and you, in fact, you came up so strongly with that. And I feel those were the most those were the assignments where you scored the best,
yes,
where where initially you struggled. Yes, yes. So
I,
it has been wonderful,
I
yeah, witnessing that journey.
yeah, if the feedback weren't there, then my projects would have looked a lot different. So
Yes,
has
yes, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pauline, for sharing that. Yes. And thank you for your time today. Okay, it was great. I'm sure all the viewers, they just enjoyed listening to your views. And I wish all the best for your future journey. And you will get opportunity to work with Master Wonders soon. And just work towards it. I'm sure that it will happen. Yes?
thank you. Thank you for believing in me.
Thank
Thank
you. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
you. Bye.